Everybody likes to be the bad guy at times. Grand Theft Auto proved this concept a long time ago, and at least on occasion, it showed that people would rather defy the cops than actually be one. Now, I played Grand Theft Auto 5 a while back, and I really liked the heist portion of the game. But what if there was a game that solely concentrated on the heist? In 2011, a game came out called Payday, the heist, that actually fleshed out this concept. And about 2 years later, a sequel came out that was put out not only on the PC, but most major consoles. Let's see it... Oh, right.
Can't breathe in this thing. I thought this would be a good gag. It came in the collector's edition. Yeah, sorry if you're afraid of clowns.
Payday 2 takes place a while after the original downloadable title, Payday the Heist. A brief tutorial on the controls tells you that you, or rather one of the characters, took a brief vacation to get the heat off of them. Now they've returned to do the same thing they've always done. There really isn't a story here. It's basically cooperative multiplayer.
Now, coming from mostly a single-player background, I like to have a little narrative. But there's no real story here, and I'm a little more confused because it's a sequel, and there's no real observable single player that I can find, really. So does this make for a bad game?
From the get-go, not necessarily. Like a good wrestling match, the narrative, what little there is told through the missions themselves. The idea is simple. You plan the mission a bit, figure out where you need to go, perform your duties, and get out with the objective completed, along with whatever other profitable extras you find along the way. You can spec up your character the way you want via these tech trees. Each one of these 4 has different skills that you can mix and match. All these skills require points, which are earned when you level your character. The weapons are also bought and upgraded in the same vein. You have to level your character to be able to use certain weapons, and then the game randomly gives you the ability to craft new gear as a reward for completing a heist. There are 2 ways of handling missions, based on the latest updates on the PC game. There's what is called going loud, which means just getting noticed, wearing the heaviest armor, carry the biggest guns, and just shoot and kill everything along the way to fulfill the objective. You can also go stealth, which can require a lot more planning and effort, and possibly more gear, but you don't get the cops coming at you in waves. Some options don't even have an option like this, but those that do have a little Pac-Man ghost icon next to it. This is actually a fun game for me to play. I like the leveling and spec mechanics, and if you get the right people involved, you can coordinate and attack decisively, and missions become easy. It also helps if you have no experience to have an experienced team take you through some of the missions until you have enough gear and knowledge to take on the maps with random people. And even with random people, it's actually fun to play.
So this is surprising. I actually like this game. Well, sort of.
The first time I played this, I was rather put off by the lack of a single-player campaign, which I feel can be a great tutorial for the first-time player. Playing this game in single-player, however, is almost pointless. You have to do pretty much everything yourself, and trying to go up in difficulties while doing so is idiotic. The bots used for the extra people don't do anything except provide a little cover fire and help you up, but planning is not easy. This game has to be played in multiplayer, and it shows. The stealth mechanic has been redone a few times since its initial release, and it's made a lot of people moan. Now, granted, I wasn't there during the big growing pains of the game, and while it has been reworked to account for folks who want to get away with not getting shot at by the police, the SWAT team, and the FBI, I'm not sure if the headache was worth it. I'm also not a big fan of the downloadable content updates. There are free ones, which give you new heists, and then there are paid ones, which do give you a heist, but they're mostly weapons and modifications as well. These range from between $5 and $7, and it makes me wonder if they're worth the time and money just to get an extra heist, even if there is one. This is particularly true with the reveal of the dentist and the new Big Bank Heist DLC, which gives you one heist. It's supposed to be a big and difficult one, but it's still just one heist. Oh, and those DLC updates and expansions I just mentioned, they aren't all on the consoles yet. The PS3 just got the first 3 updates, and the Xbox 360 doesn't have anything at all. It is possible the next-gen console versions will include this new content, dubbed the Crime Wave editions for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. If I ever get a copy of the next-gen console version, I'll certainly add an updated review. However, as of this review, there are no updates, no rework mechanics, and no extra content for the console versions of the game, particularly the 360 version.
So there's definitely a split for people who want to own Payday 2 here. Those that want the ease of putting a disc into a box and have it work, and those that don't mind making their own boxes and getting all the updated content. Well, no matter the box, is Payday 2 worth your cash?
Payday 2 is currently retailing for about $30. This is for any method you want, physical or digital. There is a collector's edition running around for the consoles for about $40, but unless you want useless trinkets like the one I was just wearing, I'd avoid that one. Your best, most future-proof deal is really the Steam version of the game. Sort of. You'll get a bunch of free updates and extra heists compared to the console version, but if you really want to be up to date, you're looking at spending an extra $34 to get everything, which is way over the cost of the game itself, and looking at AAA title pricing territory if you're trying to get everything at once. Wait for a sale, particularly if you don't want to spend over $60.
Payday 2 is certainly an interesting game to see updated, even on multiple platforms, and while the price of entry might be a little off, I have a feeling that EA's entry into the heist thing, Battlefield Hardline, is going to give it a little bit of competition, so I think the prices are going to end up being the same. But lately I've been playing games where I've been the bad guy a whole lot. I mean, I've reviewed Grand Theft Auto 5 last year. Saints Row 3 was free on Xbox Live for Gold members, so I played that a lot. A friend of mine got me Saints Row 4 on the PlayStation 3 when it was on sale. Thank you again. And now I've reviewed this. Isn't there a game where I can just play the good guy for once?